you how you can do installation of Topaz on AWS. For that, first let's get into the AWS system. So we have to first sign into our account, and here I have my credentials. You can use your own credentials and sign in. And first of all, we need to create our own virtual machine that we'll be using, in which we'll be running Topaz. For that, let's first install. We'll go to the launch virtual machine section, and here we'll select a couple of options. So we can give a name to our. Here are, like, let's say we can name the we can give a name tag to this. So let's call it Topaz server. And once it's named, let's here we have to choose the operating system in which we want to run our Topaz. So my preferred system is Ubuntu, so we'll go with the Ubuntu system. And so here we have some options from Ubuntu that we can select, and since Ubuntu 22.04 is latest, and maybe it's not that stable, so we'll go with the Ubuntu Server 20.04, and I'm selecting 64-bit, and this is how you can select your system. And then once you are here, then you have to select other things like the RAM and all. So we did already the server name, we selected our operating system, and now we need to select like how much RAM we want. So basically we need at least 4 gigabytes of RAM for our work, for our simulation purposes. So we select 4 gigabytes, and then we have to create a key pair for our login to our virtual machine through SSH platform. So for that, we just click and enter the name. Let's call it Topaz. Uh, let's keep it Topaz. And here are some of the options. Let's keep the default options as our let's leave it them as it is. And this is how, and the key will be automatically downloaded for you in the download folder. And then let's keep everything safe. Just let's click these 3 options on, so we can access our virtual machine through SSH and then through internet and as well. So, and the last thing, we don't have to do anything else. We can directly launch our virtual machine. So now we have our virtual machine getting ready, and it is getting started. So once it will be ready, I'll start with the next step. And now we can see that the virtual machine that we created is ready, and we can access it. It has passed all the installation checks, so now we can try to connect to our virtual machine. So let's go to connect, and we are going to use the SSH command to do it. It asks for the key pair that we selected. We have to execute this key, make this key executable, and then we can copy this command, and using it we can get into our virtual machine. So let's go and find our key. So in the download folder, it was automatically then downloaded when we created our key pair. So let's create one folder with the name AWS, and we will copy this key into it, and then we'll toggle to this AWS folder, and we'll keep all the Topaz installation files in this folder to do the complete the installation of Topaz in this virtual machine. So now we open our terminal, and let's and toggle to this AWS folder.
So let's go to the cd download and AWS, and we are here. So now we just copy paste this command, and this makes it executable, and using this ssh command we can log in into our virtual machine. So now we are inside our virtual machine. That is it says that there is latest update available, but we don't want to install the update, and it tells about the system of our virtual machine. Running perfectly fine. So now we can go and download the Topaz executable files, and try to install this into our system, or into our virtual machine. So let's go to the Topaz website, Topaz MC. That, and you have to download the Topaz files, the software. You have to sign into your account. So I have my credentials already saved, so I can directly get into my system. So I will sign in, and this way I get this extra option of code repository, and then we will see the codes, and which one suits. We'll select the path, the version that suits our system. So we are going to go with this Debian 9 or Debian 10. So we are going to go with the Debian 10, and sidewise we also open the tab for our Topaz instruction guide, installation guide. So we'll open it, and now it says that we have to go with the version. Let's download the Debian 9 version. We'll download this version, and we'll install it in our Topaz. For this we have to just go to this, we search for it, and here it is. So it has two parts, so let's download both of them. And so this is how we download part 1, and we download part 2. So now if they are, well, we can go to our download folder, and then we can move it to our AWS directory. So here are our Topaz files that we have downloaded. So we can just copy them and move to our AWS folder. So now when you go to the AWS folder, you can see that there is our key pair executable, and then there is this Topaz files. So now we go to the uh, installation guides of Topaz and see how we have to install. For installation, initially we have to do some prerequisite installation. So these are for the Debians and or our Ubuntu system. So we have to run these commands to install all the C++ libraries that are required by Topaz. So for that we just copy paste the commands into our uh, uh, virtual machine, and so let's paste them one by one. So it will it's saying there is some we have to initially update it, and then we have to run it. There are some errors, so I hope they will be solved. And now, like, initially it's going updated, and then we can install our other files into it as okay. So we can try again this the files, or the C++ libraries that are required by Topaz. Will install all of them here in our AWS virtual machine before installing Topaz. So this way it's getting installed. It may take like a few seconds or 1 or 2 minutes. And so basically you have to install all of them one by one, and before you go to the next steps. So it seems stuck. already installed. So it's already installed, so now we go to the next one, and this way we are going to do for all these libraries one by one. We copy this and wait for it to get installed. Remember, you have to always use sudo to do the installation. You won't be able to do it without it. So always write sudo, and then you can do these installations. Uh, Now you can see that we have installed all the uh, most of them. Let's install the remaining two libraries as well. Now our virtual machine is ready for the Topas installation. So we have already downloaded the executable files. So let's get started with the installation now. So the next step after the prerequisite is to merge the both files that we have downloaded, these executable the Topaz files, part 1 and part 2. Now we have to merge them and make them one. For that we have to move here in this command. So we are going to use the cat command to do this thing, and let's do it. So just copy and we paste it here, and let's do part 1, and then we do Topaz part 2, and then after that we do this remaining command Topaz gz. So basically what we are doing is we are merging both part 1 and part 2 into a single file, and we'll move this file into our virtual machine. So it's done. Now we have part 1, part 2, and we have our main Topaz 3.8 version file here, and we will be transferring this file to our AWS server, Topaz server. So next, after downloading this, we have to download the data files that are, let's download them as well, and then I'll show you how to do this next steps. So let's create one more folder, that is a make directory G for data, and we go into that file directory. So now in our AWS file directory we have a new directory that is G named G for data, and we'll be moving this G for data directory into our Topaz virtual machine, or AWS virtual machine contain where we'll install the Topaz. So let's download all these files, and then we'll you can do any of the commands that work on your system. If you are with Mac, you can follow these steps, and if you are with the Linux, then you can download them using these commands. So since I'm with Mac, so I'll just copy paste these commands to download all these files. So let's quickly download them one by one, and we are not going to run the tar commands here. We'll be running them only inside our virtual machine. So just keep them in your we are basically going to transfer the zipped files from our system into our virtual machine through SFTP base, or you can say path. So let's wait, it's downloaded, and then next. This way we are going to download all these files that are that we need, data files. These are the files that Topaz used to simulate all the radiation interactions. So now you see that we have downloaded most of the files, and once it's done we can start moving with the next steps of installation of the Topaz. And I'll show you the how it's happening. So in our AWS file, so we downloaded moved our server key pair thing, the key, and we made it executable. And then we downloaded the two files, part 1 and part 2, related to the Ubuntu system of Topaz, and we merged them into a single file. And then we downloaded all the data files that are related to this version of Topaz. Now let's move to the next step. After download, it says that we have to so from now we start moving things to our virtual machine. So now here we have our logged in system through SSH, and we don't want to access it through it. So let's get out, and now we'll be accessing it through SFTP. That is a platform through which you can transfer files from your system to the virtual AWS virtual machine. So we exit our and AWS machine, and then reconnect it with the, not this time with SFTP, that is for the file transfer. And again, now we are inside a virtual machine. If we say make ls, so there is nothing there. So let's make a directory named make dir Topaz, and now we have a Topaz directory, and we get into this directory. And now we'll transfer these files that are here into our onto our Topaz directory of the virtual machine. So for this, let's we are going to use the command put, and R is generally used to put the directories, and if you want to put the files, you can directly put the files. So let's copy the name of the file. Let's rename. This way we can just copy the name of the file and just paste. So this way it will transfer your Topaz file into the virtual machine. Similarly, for directories, we have to put -r and then we can put G for data, so it will transfer the whole directory into our virtual machine. So it is transferring our files to our virtual machine. So let's wait for it, and yeah, that's after it's done, we can again reconnect it through SSH, and can finish our installation process. So once it's done, it's just uploading the files. So the speed of uploading depends very well on very much on what is the speed of your internet. So in my case, I have a very good internet connection, so that's why it's very quick. In your case, it may take like half an hour, 1 hour, or depends. So now if you check, you have the Topaz direct file, and that contains the Topaz executables, and here we have the gint for data files that Topaz uses for simulation purposes. So our files are ready, so we can get exit this, and again reconnect our AWS machine through SSH. And now this time when we look into our system, there is a Topaz directory that we created using SFTP, and if we get into this Topaz directory, there is our Topaz direct file that we downloaded from the website of Topaz, and the gin for data files that on which Topaz is based. So now we return and untar this our Topaz executable. So we just copy this and tar, and then hit a tab, so it automatically copies the name, and this way it's decompress the whole Topaz file. So now we have one more Topaz directory here, and we have gin for data files. So now we have to extract the files with our zip files in the gin for data file folder. So we G for data folder, and when you go, there are red means they are not compressed, so we have to uncompress them, or so we can go after the download commands. There is how to untar them, so we just copy paste them and untar all our files. So let's do it one by one for all of them. So now we have uncompressed all our files, that whatever we have transferred from our system into our system, a virtual machine. So you can check. So these blue are the uncompressed files, and whereas the red one is the compressed files. So we can get out, and now we have finished the part 3 of this the part 2 of the installation of the data files. So now lastly we go into our environment setup system, and we just have to use this Linux path. So we'll copy this, and we go to our virtual machine and get to the home directory. There is Topas, so now we can do nano.bash rc, and we go to the end of this file and just we copy paste this thing command, and we save it. And after saving, we can now go back to our Topaz directory, and then we go to the GN4 data directory and we do the pwd. So we have to place this complete path in our environment variable that we have set right now. So we'll do it. And so we again go back and nano.bash rc. Okay, and we just remove this and place our complete path. It's done, so we just save it and exit. And now our Topaz is installed. We can try to run some examples, so let's try it. So Topaz examples, special components, and we can go here. There are many examples, so we can try running any of them. So we go to the bin directory that contains the Topaz executable, and then we can try to run the multi-leaf collimator sequence. Collimator sequence. So it runs and it complains about the environment variable, so that means we have to restart our virtual machine, because after setting the environment variables, it is very important to restart it. So we restart our virtual machine with the SSH, and then we go to the exit to our folder and run the same command, and this time it shows that it runs the histories. And one thing to note is the AWS system do not support the graphical user interface, so it only says shows that it's running histories, which shows that the installation is complete and you can start using Topaz for your simulation purposes.